Everyone, today is Friday, February 18th, 2022. This is a special meeting agenda to consider a presentation regarding our Kootenai County Court Facility expansion. Attending Commissioners Duncan Brooks and Filios. Also joining, by the way, do we have any changes to the agenda?
No.
Hearing none. Joining us, of course, is Corey Trapp from Longwell Trapp Architects, Gan Gallegos from Lombard Conrad Architects, and Ben, you are with which organization?
Lombard.
Also Lombard Conrad. Okay, Ben Bernier. So welcome, gentlemen. The floor is yours. Go.
Oh, I'm sorry, can you push your little button?
Yeah.
That's it. Leave that on.
Perfect.
Yep,
Yeah,
perfect.
Fine.
Okay, good. It's good to be back. See you again. It's been a while. So the last time we were here, we were kind of tasked with looking at kind of relocating where this courts complex was going to be. It was going to be initially in the parking lot area there between the courthouse and the Justice Center. And now we're looking at the site that is just to the west here of the Justice Building to see how that would fit. So that was our task from last time, to take kind of the program from all the departments that were going to be in that building and see how they fit on this site here. So those are the plans that we have up here and in front of you that we kind of would like to just walk through how those would lay out and show you how those works. And Ben's going to walk you through those levels.
If I get up and point at the screen?
Yeah,
everything
absolutely.
Yeah,
okay.
or do you have?
Do you need do we have a laser?
Oh, we had a pointer.
I can-
Pointer. Okay. We used to have them.
We had a laser.
Right there.
Ben, we've got something.
This is easier because if you're like me, if you're standing there,
Shoot somebody's eye out.
that's what I mean. Thank you. There you go.
So we had kind of went over these via Zoom, and I'll apologize for the red stuff all over them. That was part of the cost estimate, which came over later, just figuring out square footages, and I thought I really did it out there, but it didn't save it.
So the only, yeah, you're gonna have to use a mic here.
Oh,
That should pick you up.
Sorry.
okay.
There,
Did I start over?
no.
So I'll apologize for the red lines over them, but we had previously went over these with kind of the group, and were all of you present? I couldn't remember if all of you guys were present. Okay.
No.
So we'll kind of walk through what we did. We took, like Ken said, we took the program from the other building shape in between the old courthouse and the Justice Building and tried to transfer it over into here.
Two.
So this would be main floor walking into the building. One thing that we tried to do, or that we did, was how we had it previously had 3 entrances that the bailiffs are going to have to deal with. This consolidates it down to 2. The old courthouse one is still going to be there, but this is going to kind of utilize the existing security entrance in there that exists in the Justice Building now, and just instead of building another one for another building and have 3 of those for them to man, now it cuts it down to 1. So what we're going to do is, this is the existing entrance. This is going to become the exit, and then we're going to make a new doorway passing in through this hall, and then come into the security scanners right here. From there, customers will come. There's a help desk right here. The bailiff's office is, they can either go court here, come over this way, go to court, stairs, elevator, find where they need to go through the building. One of the ideas that came from the master plan study that we did was moving the traffic court out of the basement down here. So that was what this court is kind of representing, is a space to have that traffic court and get that congestion out of the basement of the Justice Building and move all that congestion up here where it shouldn't be congestion anymore. There should be more of it. Along with that was giving the clerks, if you could at all read that, it says clerks, giving the clerks some more room, get them out of their crowded space in the basement. This is our court holding down here, the secure elevator, holding cells. I think on the last presentation, we did not have a door into this courtroom, but if this was, we talked about if this was not gonna be used for traffic court, it still could be used for a jury court, so we added the door back in. Shared conference room, break room, training room, multi-purpose room, bathrooms, break room down here, some mechanical and electrical, judge's suite down here, with the thought being that was more of the traffic court judge. An update from last time is we did add a couple tiny little holding cells up here. I don't know if those are actually gonna work, they're pretty tiny. But we showed them, this is an example of what could go there. So this is the hallway for inmates to come through and get into these courtrooms. And we had talked, the judge brought up last time that it's really not ideal transporting people through that hallway. But at this time, that's kind of what we have. So with that, those clerks that are in there, we gave them a new spot down in that corner. We're still close to the existing building, but also accessible to the new building. That's kind of the first floor,
Okay.
main floor, I guess.
So one thing that we talked about too is that wouldn't have to necessarily be traffic court. You could actually repurpose one of the existing courts as traffic court. This could be a new jury trial room. But also, this jury room could be used by some of the other courtrooms.
Yep.
If that courtroom isn't using it also. So it gives you more flexibility than that, because there's only two, I believe there's only two jury rooms in that building right now.
Yeah, so this jury room has a door coming in on this side too, where these courtrooms would be able to use that.
And what do we have, 4 courtrooms?
There's
Three in the
actually
new.
6 in that building, right?
Oh, there's 6 in this.
Yeah, in the new one, there's 3 additional ones.
Okay.
And another, and I don't know how if it would actually work, but I was thinking of instead of traffic court being here, if maybe traffic court can be in the old courthouse, if that would eliminate some of the need for bringing inmates across. Maybe it wouldn't, I don't know, but yes.
So just to orient me, so the light colored part is that existing building?
Yes.
Okay, and then the new part is the colored?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Traffic court doesn't have in custodies, so.
So if you can move those into the old court building maybe, I mean, that's changing all operations and probably way beyond this discussion, but just as an idea to keep from transporting inmates across the open parking lot into the old courthouse.
Just something to think, if we move traffic court collections, typically we have them coming out right then and there, we have to move along with that.
Like I said, that's not for, I think it could possibly be done, but that's beyond this conversation probably, so. Like I said, it was more of just an idea to try and avoid transporting people through the unsecured essentially area into the old courthouse. Any more questions on the main floor? You wanna go upstairs or downstairs? Oh,
You mentioned that the hold, the 2 little hold areas that you have in the back of 10 might not work anyway, and if I could just add to that, that's a very small courtroom, and it looks like it's going in to the existing courtroom. I'm not sure if it is.
this is the same footprint that the clerks are in right now. We didn't expand the
Oh,
footprint or anything, so no, it wouldn't go into the
Okay.
courtroom. They'd still have to go through out into the hallway and then go into the courtroom.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Captain Andy Deek with the Sheriff's Jail. My concern is those holding cells you have both behind the courtroom as well as in the bailiff's area. I don't see where observation is being provided for those inmates that are in custody. There are statutes and Idaho code that requires observation.
Yep.
For that, I'm assuming that you're gonna design in a workstation somewhere?
Yeah, in that, kind of somewhere in that central corridor. The doors would all have glass in them, so you could see into them. We could even maybe do some storefront on the front of them, so there would be visibility into them.
And this is in addition to what's gonna be in the basement?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. This is just when it's their time to go to court, they go up to that floor and hang out for that half an hour until they want it in the courtroom.
Very good.
We also didn't put toilets in these just for the flooding risk, where they'd have to take them out of the holding cell, bring them to a separate toilet where they can be observed. Yes, sir.
Arbor Heron with the prosecutor's office. Traffic court does not involve in-custodies, so you don't need a holding cell.
The only reason we did that was the thought if that wasn't used as traffic court, it could still be used as a jury room. The space is still there, so if it was a jury room, then the in-custodies would need to go in.
That's a dedicated room for traffic court. You don't have to worry about prison.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting that detailed right now. We're just kind of saying, here's courtrooms and here's some ideas. So I think the court system will get together and say what judges go where and what courtrooms go where. So this is just a thought to get people out of the basement. But then they started realizing there's actually a lot of courtrooms that they could turn into traffic courtrooms and not just the new ones. So, yeah.
I think what came out of our meeting with the courts was that it would make more sense to move the traffic court to one of the other existing courtrooms. And because this is valuable as a room that we use for jury trials.
Yep.
Because it is right next to the residence.
Right.
And the original thought was it wouldn't just be traffic court, it would also be a jury courtroom too. I guess back to the upstairs or downstairs? Downstairs? I think I can change it. All right, stand.
So who's controlling the, can we flip
I think
that?
he is.
Oh, okay.
Please go back one page, please. So this would be basement level, coming through the elevator, going downstairs. This would be the AMP offices, the main court holding cell, and then also the auto sally port. This would also be employee entrance down here. One of the other, I guess, goals for the project is to get some accessibility into the Justice Building. So we changed a little bit from last time, where this elevator is the elevator that serves the Justice Building, so we added this hallway through here into here. And right now, this is just a door into here. This would get remodeled and reconfigured somehow to let people into the building. Coming down the stairs, you'd hit the AMP waiting room, AMP, the duty desk where they check in, come through the secure doors, meet with their PO back in these offices. Remodel it kind of from the feedback from last time. They got a little sally port, vestibule coming out this way, conference room, I believe that's ammo storage, and then evidence storage, bathrooms, break room. We added this bathroom mainly for the transport folks, so they don't have to necessarily go into the detention area. And then the detention cells stayed pretty close to the same. We did narrow this down a little bit. This group cell shrunk a little bit. I think it's more just a single person cell now. And I believe we lost one cell up here. The main reason we did that, and this is still a question that we have to figure out with the sheriff's office, is can we get vans in and out of that sally port? Looking from the information you sent us, it's about a 50-foot turning radius. Does that sound accurate? So this circle, the dotted circle right here, is I think set at like a 52-foot diameter circle. And I don't know if that's big enough to get vans in there or not. We would need some input from you guys for sure. So as the project moves forward, that's one area that's gonna have to change a little bit, just to allow van access in there. And not have them do a 47-point turn to drop an inmate off.
On that lower portion where the two vans are parked diagonal,
Yep.
you've got two boxes there. What are those? To the left of them.
These two?
Yep.
The elevator and the mechanical room for the elevator. So I think there is some options. Looking at this road, if we could extend that all the way through and have it hit northwest, and maybe move the sally port out a little bit, or possibly having it another entrance to the sally port coming this way. But again, I don't know if that is enough room to make that circle.
What's the
Also-
capacity of your holding cells there, total number of inmates that you could house?
I knew you were gonna ask that. I'm gonna say 18 to 20, as it sits right now.
Total?
Yep.
We're far exceeding that now.
What are you
With
at?
our current
Okay.
holding. We had, the original plan showed 50.
Maybe I'm counting it wrong.
Okay.
From the last meeting we had with you, the only thing when we accommodated all of those numbers, and on this one, when we slid it over, I think we only lost 2 single cells.
Okay.
It doesn't,
So can you confirm that total for me then?
Yeah.
That's, if this is for future growth, we sometimes.
Oh, that's what I was counting.
As much as 25 or 30 recalls at a time.
Yeah.
Right.
We're down there twice
Yeah,
a day.
you probably got close to
Sometimes
50.
those overlap. And it's not just the total number, we have to have segregation, obviously, for male, female, mental health, juveniles, all the above, so.
Yeah.
And Captain Deke, we're continuing to keep the current Sallyport and holding cells because of the old courthouse. So those aren't going away.
And looking at this, they are sized for 2 people, not singles. Not as common as singles, so it's probably closer to that 15 number.
Good. I don't know that we have the staff to do both locations.
It's a different problem.
Yeah.
Questions on the basement level? I think those are all things we'll definitely have to work through as the project progresses.
So one thing, when we move that, when we add that corridor through, we'll have to displace some clerks, but the idea is that the clerks that are being displaced move over, and then the float clerks would actually move upstairs.
Yep.
In extra
Yeah,
space.
all the clerks that are in there, however they rearrange can go up to the main floor in the new building. And then whatever people need to move into there and fill that space or however that works. We're gonna try and retain this area as, I guess it's also an egress out of this building, but also just as kind of a courtyard. It's gonna bring, even though this is a basement level, it's gonna bring a lot of light into the building on that side. And also just moving it farther away for some fire separation, but it's not gonna have, it's probably still gonna be rated to some degree, but not as high as it would if it would butt right up to the building.
All right, you go to page 3.
This is the main court's floor. I think we ended up rearranging this a little bit from last time. I think this was actually the top floor last time, and it's kind of discussed that this makes more sense building-wise on this floor. The elevator doesn't have to go all the way to the top floor, the security inmate elevator. But I think there'll be some debate on who gets the top floor, if it's prosecutors or courts. But 2 big courtrooms, and we kind of threw in just a model courtroom. This is probably not at all what the courtroom's gonna look like. There's a lot of ramping and stuff to figure out to get up into the judge's bench, but we just kind of threw in an example to show that it fits. We can make it work somehow. Restrooms, the central holding area, all the judges' area down here, jury room, plenty, I hope, of conference rooms. It's kind of scattered throughout. I wrote down the number of people.
It says 56 on the right and 94 on the left.
So that one, as it's configured right now, it's about 56 people and then 94 people. And again, if that needs to shift or change, you can once kind of the final layout comes in. Yes, sir.
It would make sense if you could both courtrooms could be around 96. You
Okay.
could have a felony trial in both those courtrooms if that occurred.
Okay. And I think there probably is some opportunity to make them a little bit bigger, or at least make them both the same size. If we can get a little closer to 96 and move some stuff around.
Four?
Prosecutor's floor, I don't know that a whole lot changed up here. I guess just one of the updates we did show, in the 10A report, we did show a resemblance of furniture in there. Again, it's just kind of an example. Yes, sir.
Go back one slide, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
On that holding area you had in the middle,
Yep.
between the two courtrooms, how many cells do you have?
There's 3 in each one.
3 in each courtroom?
3 in each
Each floor.
each floor has 3 smaller
You
holding
only have
cells.
one defendant in each courtroom, roughly, that are in custody.
Yeah. And then one on deck.
Find out some of that, you think?
Well, I mean, typically they hold in the courtroom right now, but they're in custody.
And if we only need 2, we can only have 2. It's just that there was 1 for each courtroom and then 1 waiting to go.
Yeah, for law and motion case, they just typically put them in a jury box or wherever there's room. For trials, it's nice to have a whole probably, but that's not something that can happen.
And that could get adjusted and make that 1 single cell and a bigger group cell or something like that. Yep, yes, please. Again, the prosecutor's floor, I don't think we moved a whole lot around up here. Just to run through it, the main public stairs and elevator coming into the prosecutor's lobby, some restrooms. Did add the glass around the reception area so they can see let in, and then it's kind of the offices around the perimeter, secretaries in the interior, interspersed with kind of some offices and break areas and copy rooms and all the things that you guys need, I hope.
So one of our thoughts is that from our team, we felt that the prosecutor should be on the upper floor and the courts on the second floor, because you have a lot more traffic into the courts.
Yeah.
People can take the stairs instead of having to wait for the elevator. It's less load on the elevator. If you put the prosecutor on the second floor, potentially people are going to their office, wanting to know where their court is, that kind of thing. So it just logistically seemed to make more sense.
Out of the flow of traffic, okay.
Yeah, and when it's on the top floor, this can become something where right now it's just open elevator shaft. No more questions on kind of the concept plans, and I'll qualify these by anything at this point can change. And I mean, building footprint, anything, nothing set in stone. It was just kind of the exercise to take the other program and see what it would fit over here and how much space it would take up.
So including the basement, we have how many floors?
4.
So I see the gross square feet is 58,000. Do you remember what it was for the building in between the two buildings?
That was like 56.
Oh, okay, so we're
It's pretty close.
good.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
56,000?
it's really close.
58,000 for the new, it was 56 for the one that was going in between.
Yeah.
So squeeze
This
some more.
footprint is roughly the same size as the other one. It's just a different shape.
It's interesting, 56,000 is what we have at Kootenai North, the KEC building. Very close. Interesting.
Yes, unfortunately, we can't split
No,
justice like that.
that's right. Anyway, okay.
Okay.
But it helps, it puts it in perspective, because some of us had a chance to tour the KEC building, so you get a sense, you get a perspective for the space.
Yep.
Okay, where to from here?
Okay, you have the cost estimate up there. So Corey and I kind of put this cost estimate together and looked at, the square foot of each of those departments, and then we assign kind of a typical square foot construction cost to those. We broke it out individually because the spaces are a little different from each other, and they're not all cost the same to build out, right? Your holding area is a little more expensive than just your typical office area, so it's better for us to kind of break those costs per area so that the numbers are a little bit better and we're not overinflating one where we shouldn't be. So you see there, we broke out the basement, main floor, prosecutor and courts floor to those are the net square foot areas, and then we have a grossing factor for structure and columns and wall thicknesses and all that kind of stuff. So we're at that 58,027 square feet. All those costs add up together. So this first one, the total building gross square feet cost is at that 18,498,000. So basically, 18,500,000. And then you take your indirect costs, so that's kind of construct the building cost, and the contractor has their costs on their bid that those are the indirect construction cost, where you have your general contractors, insurance, their overhead and profit, their general conditions, and then you hold about a 5% construction contingency, for any of those unforeseens during construction that usually come up, and then you have your testing, where you're testing your concrete strength and all that kind of stuff during construction. So the total construction cost estimate is around that 19,600,000. Yeah, there in the green. So that's kind of our educated guess of what the contractor would come in and say we can build this building for 19,600,000. And then your other soft costs that aren't included in that overall amount, but they do have an effect on the overall budget is, your A&E fees, your A&E reimbursables, and then you've got plan review fees, for the county for permits and sewer connections and water connections and, impact fees for traffic and all of those. A little bit for site survey and soils investigations to do your, get your bearing capacities and all that. And then, for any new building, you always have to furnish it, of course, desks and furniture and computers and phones and all that stuff that's not typically included in the contractor's bid for that stuff. It's all furnishings, fixture, and equipment. We allotted about 4%, and that's of the construction cost to estimate that. So kind of total design and construction kind of for a budget is around that $22,000 range. This is more than the last one we looked at the other spot, and there's a few things that go along with that. In that previous one we looked at, we were shelling out quite a bit of space, meaning not building the interior of it. That first floor, we were shelling out that whole space for a future courtroom and for the future clerk's area. In this cost, we're adding that square footage, building it out completely whole, so we kind of see the whole picture. That certainly could be done in this project as well. But really what happens is you get in there a year later, you're like, well, it's time to build out that courtroom because we're out of space. And now inflation has still gone up, and it costs, 1.5 times or more to build that out than it would have, a year ago. So that's kind of what we're always fighting. These numbers are, right now, if you don't know, we're seeing very high construction numbers and, material delays, and kind of contractors are really kind of very busy. It's funny that stuff costs so much right now, but everybody's building things. So contractors are busy and their costs are up, and materials are hard to get, steel costs and just kind of import taxes on everything. And costs are just kind of continually growing the last couple of years, as we've seen pretty much all around. And then usually, I don't know if it has ever gone down in cost. They figure out they can charge what they want these days, and they kind of stay at those levels. And
Until they have too much product and not enough
Yeah.
movement.
yeah. So that's kind of our kind of overview.
The reality is I don't think costs are really gonna go down much. They may level out. There's a lot of money in the country right now and with ARPA funds going to all different
Yeah.
communities, and they're all gonna start, I'm starting to see, I'm sure Ken is too, we're starting to get contacted by a bunch of other people about doing some projects, and so I think the demand isn't gonna go down much. What we can hope for is that the supply chain gets better, so at least the costs level
problem.
out.
Right.
What are you assuming groundbreaking?
Well, that really kind of just depends on you all. I think we had something like, so we haven't started in construction documents. We're still kind of in the concept phase on this project. And I think we had around 8 months for construction documents. So, 2023 could be a ground breaking for this project.
The reason I ask is you must have made some assumption in coming up with the costs.
Yeah.
Yeah, just knowing what, you just bid out another justice building in Nevada, right?
Yeah, my courthouse in Nevada, it was a courthouse, 2-story courthouse, and then a big jail addition as well. And that was about a $30 million project. The courthouse itself was around 18 million. And it had 2 large district courts and then 2 small justice courts, very similar to this. And its square foot cost was around $652 a square foot. There was a lot of good, nice woodwork and stuff in the courthouse, and some nice finishes and things that we did, because it was kind of a copper mining area, and they had some other money from the mines and things. So plus they have a little
remote.
a remote factor. It's in Ely, Nevada. There's a remote factor for construction in there because they don't have access to a lot of contractors. So they have to go to Salt Lake and to Las Vegas and Reno, and there's a lot of travel cost for the contractor. So their construction costs there are higher than they would be here.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I've been talking to just some of the local contractors on a couple of projects I'm bidding on, so we kind of work together on coming up with some of these numbers on the ballpark idea.
Yeah. And, with a grain of salt, we like to overestimate costs a bit so that when the project comes in at, let's just say 20 million, we would rather that than it comes in at, 28 million, and then we're way off of the cost.
Right.
So, we like to kind of add a little bit to those kind of average construction costs, also knowing that, it's going to be another year before this starts construction, and then we've got a little bit of inflation on top of that as well. So we're trying to have a good buffer there.
That's why that 5% contingency is in there. We get a general CMGC on board. As we develop the drawings farther along, that contingency number will shrink down a little bit as they fine tune the numbers based
Right.
upon the drawings.
And it'll take some,
Like we did at the jail.
and it'll take some discipline on our part to limit the change orders, I assume.
Yeah.
But you might have factored that
Everybody,
in.
yeah.
And the way that you're going about the project with the construction manager up front in design is helps out that a lot, because they're with the team as we
He's
go
managing,
develop
right.
drawings. They'll find areas that find some efficiencies and discuss different mechanical unit types and stuff to save costs.
Sheriff, you had a question?
Of the last 10 projects you completed, how many of them came in under your estimate?
Under or right at, most of them. Yeah. Yeah, we had one that was it was a housing unit on a military base, about 30,000 square feet, that was actually like $500 over our estimate, which is kind of unheard of. So we're like, wow, well, that was really close. Rather than $50,000 over, Yeah.
Yeah, Steve?
What is the construction time period for the buildings?
Yeah, I figured probably about 1.5 to 2 years. And, there's a lot of factors that go into that right now. With the hard thing is getting steel, is very hard to get now, because for steel roof joists and things, glass, we've had big delays in glazing, like exterior glazing and stuff, and
HVAC units.
yeah, door hardware for some reason.
And it seems like it's something different on every project that all of a
Garage,
sudden they can't get it.
yeah, garage doors is the one that just floors me. Garage doors are hard to get. I've heard garage doors taking a year to get.
We may need 2 of them in this one.
Yeah.
Well, be glad you're not drilling. I just heard 2 years out.
Yeah, for a
well
while.
drillers.
Well
Yeah.
drillers, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Septic's about the same way.
Septics,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just labor shortage and, material supply. Like Corey said, it's got to get better.
Yeah. Well-
okay, go ahead.
Well, I don't think that shelling anything out is going to be prudent in this manner because we can already fill it. This is not with new additional personnel. This is who we have right now on the ground.
Yeah,
So,
there is a slight growth in the program numbers that we've built into the spaces. When we
right,
went-
but
when we
it's
went
it's
through-
slight. It's not a third or
Yeah.
or
No,
25%.
prosecutor, I think we have like maybe three,
3
four
offices.
extra offices up there.
Yeah.
The courts you could fill today.
Yeah.
Your clerks are overcrowded, so it really helps them out a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Pete, anything to add?
I don't think so.
Okay. Judge?
Anyone else?
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
Any other questions? Anyone on for public comment? Where do we go from here? What's our next step?
Finding a funding source.
Okay.
Yep.
So on our end, if that floor plan layout, is fairly good, our next step is to kind of see what the look of this building is and kind of come up with some concept elevations and kind of put some pretty pictures to it. So it looks, a little bit more.
Well, like an exterior rendering? Okay.
Because I think we've got kind of the shape and stuff of the building, and there's obviously a whole bunch of things that get worked out during, doing all the drawings and stuff. But the next step would be, this is the kind of the location we, want to go with, and let's see what we can make it look like. And
Okay.
Yep.
Keith?
How long does this number hold? How long, because like.
You mean, how long is the quote valid for?
So, so it's not an actual quote, Keith. It's not a quote.
It's an estimate, I'm sorry.
Could change tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll say 365 days,
We're,
Yeah.
10%, or what do you guys do?
we're hoping this would be the number until it's done. But
So it's a three-year out estimate, I guess is,
Yeah, that's contingent on construction starting
sure.
early
Yeah.
next year.
and not only that, but supply chain. So,
that's the intent, I should say, is that this is what it would be when it's done.
yeah, I have another $24 million project that I sit on a board for, and it's always like, we did good this month. Okay, what's next month look like? So, yeah,
And,
definitely challenges.
we continue on drawings this year. The contractor would be on board, in the summer, and then they would start doing kind of their narrow cost estimate to really kind of narrow those numbers down. So come, next spring, when they go into construction, they would have a really good idea of what those numbers are, and then that kind of would be the set number that they said they could build it for the county. So your answer, I guess, is about a year.
Anyone else? Okay, hearing none. I've got 11:40, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
you.
gentlemen. Appreciate it.